Hey all, welcome to Elaces Notes. I'm Diya Fathima, second year BA English Literature student of K College Mananam, and today we'll be discussing the second module of The Shapers of Destiny, the True Britons. Let us start this session. Edward the Confessor died childless on 5th January 1066, leaving no direct heir to the throne. With Edward, the Saxon line came to an end. There were four claimants to the throne of England. Two among them were Harold Godwinson, the Earl of Wessex, and William, the Duke of Normandy. Both of them were promised the throne by Edward. Among them, Harold had the strongest claim because he was promised the throne as Edward lay dying. When Harold was chosen as the king by the Witan, the King's Council, the Normans took up arms for William against England. This led to a series of battles. Finally, the Battle of Hastings began in October 1066 with all advantage on the side of Normans. Harold and his two brothers were killed in the battlefield. Thus, the House of Godwin came to an end. This marks the arrival of the greatest invaders in the history of Britain, the Normans. After the death of King Harold in the battlefield, the Norman army marched victoriously forward to the capital city of London. The Saxon lords and the higher clergy accepted William as their new king. Hence William the Conqueror was crowned William I of England on Christmas Day. William I was a brave soldier, capable general, and a clever statesman. Against William, the Saxon earls Edwin and Morcar rose in revolt in 1067. This revolt was put down and William generously forgave his rivals. He left England to be administered by a joint council of loyal Normans and Saxons led by William's close friend William Fitz-Osbern, Earl of Hereford, and his half-brother Odo, Bishop of Bayeux, and William returned to Normandy. However, the joint council was a failure and there was discontent everywhere. Edwin and Morcar rose once again in revolt against William I. This time they got the support of the Danish army. William returned from Normandy to England of such a state. But William, being a master of strategy, needed no time in sending the Danes away after paying them a good sum of money. After sending the Danes away, it was easy for William to bring the Saxons down, and he taught them a lesson they would never forget even after centuries. William and his army marched northward to the main center of the Saxon rebellion, killing, burning, and destroying everything in their way, men, animals, houses, and fields. He made sure that all men had understood the causes of William's wrath. Historians call this crushing of the Saxon rebellion as the harrying of the North. The last of the rebellions was led by Hereward the Wake from the Isle of Ely. After Ely was conquered, William became the undisputed King of England. He knew the dangers of the feudal setup. In a feudal society, a noble could become more powerful than the king because he was the one who had direct contact with men and money, both needed to attain power. This system enabled William to be more powerful than the King of France whose subject he was. As the King of England, he broke the earldoms of England into smaller areas and was bestowed upon the Norman nobles and knights. They would never be a threat to him as their earldoms were neither strong nor rich enough. In addition to this, he made all the men of England who owned land swear an oath of loyalty to him. This oath was called Oath of Salisbury and was sworn in 1086. Like most men, William was also fond of hunting. The forest laws prevented people from hunting down the king's deer. They were not even allowed to enter the forest. Instead, the poor, whose chief source of food was the forest, learned the art of poaching and escaping the vigilance of the forest guards. William I was also a master builder. All his castles were made of stone and protected by moats and other defense mechanisms so that each castle could not be easily attacked or subdued. Now we are moving to the Domesday Book. In 1086, William I gave orders to conduct a survey of the resources of the Kingdom of England. It was an account containing the land and wealth of all tenants in the country. The king could impose taxes on them based on the details in the book. It can also be said that Doomsday Book is the prototype of today's census. Another source of tax revenue for the king was the Danesgeld that was imposed in order to pay off the Danish invaders. Even though the Danish threat had died down, the king continued to collect tax in this name. There came a close alliance between the church and the state during the reign of William I. William initiated many church reforms with the help of Archbishop Lanfranc. As the Archbishop of Canterbury, he took upon himself the task of reforming the church. The dioceses were made smaller and the cathedrals of each diocese were made the center of power and communication. The important churches were raised to the stature of cathedrals. No diocese was allowed to be vacant for any length of time. Archbishop was accepted as the father and consolation of monks. He introduced many ideas and reforms in the church. He introduced a strict rule that newly appointed priests should be celibates. A proper division between the legal rights of the church and the state was defined by the king. In 1072, William ordered that any offense of the men of holy orders could be judged by the bishops and need not be tried in civil courts. In 1087, William I passed away, leaving the kingdom to his three sons, Robert Curthose, William Rufus, and Henry. Robert inherited Normandy. England fell to William Rufus, and the youngest son inherited a good sum of money but no land. Robert led the life of a squanderer, William was busy consolidating his position in England, and Henry was a man of good business acumen and obtained a large portion of Normandy from his brother in exchange for money. The new king was ambitious and cruel. He was able to put down the rebellions of the Norman nobles who rose in revolt against him. Archbishop Lanfranc died in 1089, but Rufus was not interested in getting a new archbishop because with no one at the head of Canterbury he could use its vast revenue for his own. But as the king fell ill, frightened, he made Anselm, Bishop of Bec, as the Archbishop of Canterbury. After recovering from the illness, the king led a riotous life which couldn't be tolerated by the archbishop. The archbishop didn't approve of the king's behavior, and he left England in fear of his life. In 1100, William Rufus met with a hunting accident and died. England passed into the hands of his younger brother Henry. That brings us to the end of the session. I hope you liked this video. Thank you for watching.